Hello everyone, welcome to our first Knowledge Hub session on Masters and PhD in Europe. I hope my voice is clear for everyone. And so, first I will start with introducing myself. Like I'm Krishna. I'm PhD student at Helmholtz Center Munich. And I am also managing trustee at Next Gen Scientist Foundation. So I'm super excited to kickstart this Indian Life Science Network's first Knowledge Hub session. And today we have with us 4 panelists. One is like Chella, Krishna, Vignesh, Priya, and Hridi, whose photo was not added to the poster because I just requested her to join the call recently. She's intern in our lab and she's doing her master's from LMU, Germany. So I thought it will be great to have her in our session. So thanks for joining us, Hridi. And as you all know, today's topic is going to be on Masters and PhD in Europe. But before we start the session, I would like to introduce a little bit about the organization, Next Gen Scientist Foundation, and also Indian Life Science Network. So through Next Gen Scientist Foundation, we are primarily trying to give guidance to students who want to pursue research careers, especially in life sciences. And we are also trying to have programs to promote science communication among the researchers. As you all might have already known, we host 2 events every year. One is internship program where you can choose your lab and we fund your internship. And second is our essay writing competition where you write an essay on certain topic that is set by us. And then once we see that you can write good essays, we reward you financially, and also we incorporate you into authors program wherein we financially assist you to write more articles. And we have recently thought that it has become difficult for us to directly target students who are interested in our programs. So we thought that we will set up a social network of students who aspire research careers or who are interested in science communication. And that's how we started making this Indian Life Science Network through Discord. And the primary goal of this network is to connect researchers across India as well as Indians who are pursuing research abroad. And we also want to connect students like you who are aspiring research careers with the people who are already doing research. And we also want to create a platform wherein science communicator could directly contact the researchers. And as a part of this network, we thought about a new way of communicating or setting forth a platform to communicate among these 3 kind of people. And for this, we have a separate area which we named as a virtual auditorium. And one such channel is Knowledge Hub. Through Knowledge Hub, we want to set, we want to organize events where people can interact much more freely in a, let's say, in a less formal atmosphere. It's not going to be like a Zoom call where one is talking for a long time and then you just ask few questions at the end of the session. And we also plan to have a lot of knowledge hub sessions in the future, especially like the one that the one we are having right now. We also plan to have several events which will help you to like say find what's going to be research interest, how to apply abroad for PhD or masters. And also we will try to cover a lot of we will do some interviews of scientists and startup founders, etc. So stay tuned for that. We will also update the details in our websites. So today's session on Masters and PhD in Europe, I thought that it will be good if we have a scaffold for our conversation. So that's going to be a path which I'm going to follow for this session. And it will be great if you follow this path, and then whenever there is a question that you people can jump in. So the path here is that I'm going to start off with the panelists, and I'm going to ask them why they chose to do masters abroad and how did they narrow down on the countries and programs, and how was the visa and first day experience in the country which they visited, how is the infrastructure in the countries that they are doing masters, and what are the primary differences between doing masters in India and abroad, and what are the prospects of doing masters in the country that they chose. And also we are going to touch upon the financial aspects of doing masters and PhD abroad, and with that we are going to end the session. So I'm going to follow this path, but it's going to be different. It's not that I'm going to ask some questions to them and then audience just jump in at the end. So it's not going to be like that. So imagine that we are all in the same room and we are with the panelists. So which means that when they're talking, you can always ask questions. So that's why we have this option, request to speak. And whenever you request to speak, I'm going to get a notification and I'm going to move you to the stage. So therefore, you will be able to interact with the panelist directly. And once you are done asking the questions, you will move back to the audience. And so how we are going to do this is that I'm going to start off with some question, then the panelists are going to answer. And whenever you want to add some piece of information, or if some piece of information is not clear, or you have a specific question to the panelists, you can just request to speak. But do remember that the path I said in the beginning, this is the path we are going to follow. So don't try to, since you already know what I'm going to ask in the later part of the panel discussion, so you don't have to ask the same question far early in this discussion. So as a practice, I would like to see you all to raise your hands to speak. Let's see how it works out. So could all of you raise your hands to speak? Yeah, that will be a great feedback for me to see that all of you are in the same page with me. Yeah, I can see almost everyone is raising to. Yeah, I could see that. So now you can, yeah, you can remove this request to speak. Yeah, that's great. Actually, it worked out fine. I'm happy that you're all able to hear me clearly. Okay, so let's begin the session. So we will start off by introduction of the panelists. So I'm going to ask each panelist to go one after the another. And I want you all to first introduce yourself and what degree are you doing currently, what university, what stage of the degree are you in, and what are your research interests. Probably we can start off with Chella Krishna. Why don't you go first?
Hi everyone. Happy to be here. I'm Chella Krishna. I'm a second year PhD student at University of Copenhagen in Denmark. I'm actually alumni of Hana University, Chennai. I'm working on a project that is based on T-cell lymphoma. My PhD is based in immunology and cancer biology. So I'm basically doing research in tumor immunology. So what I'm doing is studying the crosstalk between bacteria, particularly Staphylococcus aureus. It's a skin bacteria, and like how it influences or play a role in this particular cancer.
Thank you, Chella.
Yeah.
Next, Hridi, can you go next?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Ram, for the introduction. So I'm doing my master's first year at LMU Munich in the Molecular and Cellular Biology program. I did my bachelor's from St. Xavier's, Kolkata. And my research interest mainly is in microbiology and infection biology. Presently, the internship that Ram was talking about, it's on SARS-CoV-2, and I'm basically checking the interaction with human proteins amongst the various coding variants, the different strains of SARS-CoV-2 that we are seeing across the globe at the point, like the UK strain, the Brazilian strain, the South African, and the Indian strain. And yeah, thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you, Hridi. Priya, could you go next?
Hi everyone. I'm Priya. I'm doing my second year PhD in Helmholtz syndrome Munich, and I'm working on developing therapies for diabetes. And I'm really happy to be a part of Next Gen Scientist Foundation as well as this Indian Life Science Networking, and hope you will all get some informative sessions like in the upcoming weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Priya. Vignesh, next.
Hi everyone, I'm Vignesh. I'm doing my PhD in cancer research field. I'm in Munich, same institute as in Ram and Priya, Helmholtz Center. So I did my master's here in Germany in University of Bonn, and now currently in Munich for my PhD. Happy to be here.
All right. So from now on, I'm not going to call out your names. So I'm going to start off with a question, and then any of you who feel to share information can just go. So that's how it's going to be from now on. So why did you all choose to do masters abroad? So what was this decision point during your undergrad that you decided that you need to do masters abroad?
First, so in my case, first of all, I got researching just because of a summer internship I did, and that was like I was working on a immunology lab, and then that's how I got interested into immunology. And then during my thesis, I again worked on immunology field. So I really got interested in immunology, and then when I was looking for like master programs or like master programs, I couldn't find like a subject specific master program. It was again more of generic programs in India. So I was like looking on like, okay, if there is like a program that's specifically for like the course that I was interested in. And then that's how I stumble upon like courses abroad. And then that's one of the reasons why I decided to masters abroad.
So for me, it was more like I was undecisive even at the like I didn't really decide if I want to do my masters abroad in my third or final year also. And I was preparing for masters in India within India, so I did write GATE exams and other exams within India, and then one of a friend who was doing a PhD abroad in Germany, he suggested why don't come to Germany, because masters in Germany is for free of cost, and then only you have to take care of of your of your expenses, like finding a home for food and other expenses, and other parts are for university it is completely free. So that was the reason why I applied to Germany, and the cost of application for masters in Germany is also free. So all these reasons combined together.
Yeah. So in my case, like I did my bachelor thesis in Hyderabad Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology there. So I got like more interest in research because there you see like a lot of facilities like microscopy. So it's a central government institute, and I at that time I realized like there is a lot of stuffs going on in research. So I just wanted to upgrade my profile. When I discussed with my PI, he said like doing masters in abroad would be a nice idea, and I have that profile, and he helped me in the application process. As well as my mom, she insisted me, she wanted to make me study in abroad. So that's the way I came into this.
For me, my parents were always insistent that I leave the country as soon as possible. And since I did my bachelor's, like my final year of bachelor's was in 2020, so my bachelor's thesis was also done online, and I couldn't really be in lab for more than 1.5 years. So that was like a ticking point for me, and I was like, I have to leave as soon as possible. And applying to Germany, like Vignesh said, it's free of course. There's no tuition fees. You can apply for free. And the infrastructure here is great. You get to work on application-based work. I mean, I'm working on something so relevant, and that is something that you can see on news every day. I think these are the most important points for what you should consider for doing your higher studies abroad.
So I have a question. Like, of course, each of you are doing or have done masters in a particular country. But when you were doing your undergrad, you might also would have considered, okay, should I do masters here or there, and then what program should I choose, which city, and how did you narrow down on this, or is it that you applied everywhere and then yeah you got through only through few programs and then that's why you have to choose this? So how is that process? Because when you are undergrad, it's not like you're going to have a crystal clear vision on what you want to do. So how do you narrow down on the country and the programs?
I'd like to take on that, if you guys don't mind. So what happened is I applied to, I sat for TIFR, I sat for JAM last year, and I qualified for all the interviews for DBS, for NCBS, for IISER Kolkata, IISER Pune. But then it's super difficult. It's super grilling. The interview rounds, they literally, I'd go to the extent of calling it a little amount of academic harassment. They'll ask you questions which you have no idea about. You say that you're interested in a particular topic, and they go on to ask you questions on certain other topics. And it was super difficult. I'm telling you this because I've applied everywhere. Last year, I applied to everywhere, starting from Australia to England to Germany. And then I chose Germany because, again, free of cost, and the coursework here is brilliant. It's for 2 years. In UK, it's for 1 year, which is another disadvantage because you don't really get to learn more and then decide on your PhD topic or whatever you want to do further. So I think, yeah, that's what it is.
So do any of the other panelists want to add something to my question?
Yeah, I would like to add a few more things to this question. So when I was looking, actually, I don't have any idea like coming to abroad. So what my plan is just to do or get a job like senior research fellowship in the place where I work my bachelor thesis. Then when I was looking into the countries like where I can go, of course Germany is the best place, but looking into the blogged account you have to show, so it's like around 8 lakhs before like 4 years when I was about to come here. So my family, they can't afford a lot of money, so I was looking for some other options to come into Europe. So then I found this Lithuania, like where I did my master's. It was one of the best option to keep it as a entry point.
Priya, I want to interrupt you here. Could you please tell us where is Lithuania? Because I think it's like somewhere like, yeah, even like I realized only like 2 days before. So could you name the neighboring countries?
It's the Baltic region actually. It's one of the Baltic states, southeast of like Sweden, or I don't know how to explain the map.
Yeah, okay, go ahead with you.
Yeah. So when I was looking into like the cheapest fees I can afford and everything, I found Lithuania was one of the best option, and the living expense is also like really less. So I decided my master program mainly based on my financial status more than looking for the universities. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I think for me the finance thing actually helped me to screen for the university as at first actually, because I was also trying to apply for my master's or even PhD right after my bachelor's directly in US. But the thing with US was that there is a lot of finance associated with this, and then I decided completely to apply only for Germany because of this fees that I mentioned already. And then the university that I chose was, and also the course that I chose was basically based on the coursework they offer. And particularly my master program, they offered a really flexible coursework where I can choose several lab modules, and there were a lot of electives that you can choose. So that was one of the reasons that I chose university at Bonn, because they offer a nice flexible options. You can choose what you want to specialize particularly.
Chella, would you like to share your experience applying to Denmark?
Yeah. In my case, like when I finished my bachelor's in 2015, and at that time, all the experience in research I had was one summer internship and then my bachelor thesis, and that was it. And all my friends were applying for direct PhD in the US, so I thought, okay, I might as well try. So I took GRE and then I took TOEFL, first of all, they're expensive. And then second thing was like, I applied to like 4-5 universities, not much. But then when I applied, I think the most I got was going to the interview stage in like 2 universities, but that was it. I couldn't get in. Like, and the feedback I got was they said like the research experience is not enough, so they needed more. So what I did was actually after my bachelor's, I went to Mumbai at a research institute. It's called ACTREC. It's a cancer research center. I actually worked as a research intern or like student internship for like a year and a half there. Luckily, in that lab, when I was working, I got like publications, so which really helped me. And during the year, I realized I think I still needed to learn more. So I thought maybe doing a master's would be better than going for a PhD. So, but I knew what I wanted to do. So I wanted to do masters in immunology or cancer biology. And so I only looked for schools which had like those specific programs. And when I looked for immunology programs, there weren't that many. There were some in the UK, but the UK programs were like 1 year. First, I didn't think that 1 year would be enough. And second of all, it's again like UK, it again costs money. There weren't many scholarships. So that's how I came across, like I was just Googling and then like immunology master program in like Europe or something. And then I came across this University of Copenhagen. And at that time, they didn't even have like a application fee. So I thought like, what's going to happen? So I might as well try. I see someone raised a hand. Okay.
They have removed it. Yeah, continue.
Okay. So I thought I'll try. So I applied here, and not just one university. So, and then my other program was interest was in cancer biology. So I also applied to DKFC. They have a, which is in Heidelberg University. They have a master program in cancer biology. So I only applied to those 2 universities, which I think I was like, which I kind of took a risk because those were the only 2 universities I applied in the second year. But then I didn't apply anywhere else. I thought if I don't get there, then I might start thinking about applying in India. Before that, I have no thought of applying in India. So luckily, I got into both universities, and then both of them offered me a scholarship, like a full scholarship. Uh, so, and then like I had to choose whether this or that. And then unfortunately, from that year, in the German, it's located in the German state of Bavaria or somewhere. They introduced like tuition fee for non-Europeans from that year. So the scholarship they provided me was only for living costs. So I still had to pay like tuition fee. Whereas in Denmark, it's like completely free. And also immunology was my choice. So that's why I took it. Like in Denmark, and I worked and then did my research in a lab, and then I continued. So I'm doing my PhD now. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to get onto that more, but I would like to also remind to the audience that okay, you can just jump into the conversation at any point of time. So do not hesitate. It's not like your Zoom call where you wait until the end. So just jump in, challenge the panelists, ask them tough questions, and just get to know the detail that you wanted from the session at any point of time. And just do remember that the conversation is going in part. So you also have to take into that. So when I listened to Chella, he was saying about his application and his research experience. So one question, if I was an undergrad, that I would have, okay, I would just stop for a second. Okay, Priyanka has a question. And yeah, Priyanka, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, this is Priyanka. I'm currently pursuing my 3rd year in Anna University. So actually, I want to pursue my MS in Germany, and actually, I have no clue about how to go about searching for universities. So as far as I know, coming to USA, they have like this website called US News where they show the rankings of each and every university and how much it costs and what are the courses offered. So you can filter and search like that. But when it comes to Germany, I'm like unaware of how to search, or is there any specific website to search like that, to filter and search? So it would be nice if you could give details regarding that.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, I think I can answer this. So good that you choose Germany for your masters. And I can say there is a website called DAAD.de where you can put in your search title, and you can filter for master's program which is taught only in English, natural science or medicine field, and you get and also you can filter for if you want to start it in winter semester or summer semester. So in Europe, most of the universities and some of the courses offer programs in 2 semesters. So you can either start at October, which is a winter semester, or in April, which is a summer semester. So you can filter for the universities you want to apply, and you can they provide a lot of information about the course itself. So maybe we can share the website in one of the channels here.
And we will share this link. Okay, so
Yes, thank you.
okay, so now we are having a lot of questions. Yeah, Satya, go next. Satya? Satya, we can't hear you. All right, while Satya is figuring out her mic, we can have some. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, Sharath.
Hello. I had a question for Hridi and Vignesh, sir. That is, how do people manage for the block account money for masters?
Sharath, your
Is it rename something?
your voice is super choppy. We are not able to understand you. Probably you can send me a text.
Now,
Yeah, now it's okay. Yeah.
okay. I have to know the settings of block
Okay,
account
Sharath, I think
or
it's
masters.
Sharath, we are still having this issue with you. So why don't you send me the text message in Discord? I will ask this question. Okay. We will have Dooms. Okay.
Hi, Catherine. So I just completed my BTech from SRM. So I was starting to apply to masters, and I was caught with this ETS credit transfer issue. I don't know how to convert my credits into their ECTS. So would you help me with that?
There is a site called WES. It's called World Education Service or something like that. You can actually look into their website, and then they have like a way of like changing credits and like from percentage to like conversion. If I understand, that's your question. Like,
Could you type it out or somewhere, the website?
Yeah, we will send this at the end of the session.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So we will take one more question. Yeah, go ahead, Advait. Advait. I think I'm not able to hear Advait, so we will have Rahul start.
Am I audible?
Yeah, Rahul, go ahead.
Yes. My doubt is that how to draft a really good SOP to get an entry ticket to these universities that you mentioned. Did you use any techniques, or is there any method? Should we make it personal or should it be professional? Could you explain on that?
I'd like to extend your question actually. So what is a requirement? Like what are the types of documents usually you need to, let's say, submit for your application?
In my case, when I applied the university, at least for the master program, the applications consisted of like I had to upload a CV and then my mark sheets and stuff, blah blah blah. And then the other thing was a SOP, and then the other thing was also like the courses I took and how it can like help for this master program. So at least in the universities that I applied, they wanted to make sure that I had a proper background on subjects. So they specifically asked for like certain credits in these courses and like these courses and like what exactly did you do? And at that point, like it was difficult for me to explain. So at least at Anna University, you can get like a course description, so which I just attached. As far as SOP, uh, I would say it can be a mix of both professional and personal. Like you can talk about how certain experiences that can like motivated you, and yeah, of course, like having a professional like research experiences also help, because in my case, I wrote like my experience at there helped me doing this and like which would make me a good student or something like that. So yeah.
So in my case, like I submitted like a set of documents such as proof of English efficiency and SOP. In that, like I explained why I chose that university and why the particular course, and what I will get it in future after my master degree, and also my the experiences I gained from my internships programs during my bachelor's. So it's like a mixture of everything, your experience as well as like what you will be in the future after completing your masters. So yeah, these are the important documents, and I submitted.
For admissions in the master's program recently at LMU, so there are like 3 steps for admission. The first is your application procedure, where you gotta submit your, like they said, the IELTS, SOP, CV, and for LMU, we also had this one extra additional submission that we had to make. That was during my bachelor's period. I should have done research work, which had like experimentally on lab, and I had to submit a report of that as well. So yeah, those were the documents that we had to submit. In the second round, we had an entrance exam, which was taken online, thankfully, due to COVID. And the third round was definitely the interview, which was very, very informal, where I was asked about my personal research interests, my future plans, and etc. So no academic questions at all. Regarding the SOP, I have a very structured way of writing it, which I'd like to share with you guys. So first, I start with an introduction, which is always 1 or 2 lines about myself and where I come from and what is my background. The second one goes into more details of my bachelor studies or whatever studies that I did before, the marks, if possible, and my research work that I have done before in whichever labs, and if I have had publications, a little bit of details about that. The third paragraph is why I'm interested in that particular university, maybe their coursework or the subjects, the modules, the subjects that they offer in particular semesters, which I'm interested in. And finally, I finished with my future plans and how the university is going to help me go towards that goal or that aim. Yeah.
Yeah, just to add to all the points discussed before, what I understood was the SOP, you have to spend a lot of time writing your own SOP. So that is the most critical part, in my opinion, because people with other similar grades will apply for the program. What will stand you out of all the people is your SOP. You have to really put more effort in it, more time. Just dedicate a couple of days for it. Reread your SOPs. If possible, you can also give it to a senior or someone, or even if a professor could help you, you can ask if they can proofread your SOP for you. But just make sure that you put a lot of effort in it. And also, I would like to tell that the GATE exam, which is an Indian examination, it is also accepted in couple of universities in Germany. So don't hesitate to appear for GATE examinations in India.
Also, I forgot to add, for the application, you also need to submit a couple of recommendation letters.
I hope your question is answered, Rahul. We still have some questions, but I'm going to, let's say, ask one more question. How competitive it is to get this master's? So, for example, so some people are asking about the research experience. Probably when you are an undergrad, you might think like you may not have enough experience to apply to this program, and you might think you need a research paper. So Chella here has spent like several years after his bachelor's before he got into his master's. And now that you have also got into the masters, you might have met a few other Indian students as well. So what is level of competence that they expect? Like, is it in the grades, or is it in papers? Is it about research experience, or is it just about some entrance exams? So how do we prepare ourselves to be competitive when we apply for?
So for the application itself, so first of all, I think the grade is important, of course, because they have they in almost all the courses that I applied, they mentioned, okay, the minimum application percentage should be like this or that. So the grades, you have to maintain a good grade. But of course, as I said before, the effort you put it in your SOP, you have to, even if you have some research experience, you have to nicely put it out in your SOP, and that will actually help you to stand out in the crowd. And as far as I know, the research papers that you have from your bachelor's does not really matter much. What you need is you of course you have to have some experience, and you have to just showcase your experience in your SOP.
At LNU, we were actually given a proper division of percentage on which the success of your application would depend. So 30% of the success of your application depends on the application that you submit on the first round. That is your SOP, your grades, whether you have done some amount of research work. So there's a particular 30 some number of credits, which I forgot right now, I'm sorry, which you have to have during your bachelor's period in order to apply or be eligible to apply for the course. And the major part of the percentage of your success for your application, the 70% of that depends on your entrance exam, actually. So that was written when we sat for the exam. It was told to us that, yeah, this is what is going to determine most of it. This is going to determine your chances of getting into the course.
I would like to ask one more question to Hridi, probably before any of the panelists wants to add to this. So I got a question from Satya. Ask like right now the situations are different. Right? So when Priya or Vignesh or Chella and they did masters, everything normal. And now we are in the middle of the pandemic. We don't know when it's going to end in India. we don't know how other countries are going to handle it. But the question here is that because of the pandemic, the students in India, their dissertation work is going to be affected, and they may not be able to travel. They may still be able to score good marks, but overall, their competence is affected. So, do you think, Hridi, that like the universities will have a lower threshold for the other things, like say at least research experience when they take into students? And so, what do you think about this?
I think the German universities are extremely considerate and lenient about this, because last year I remember I was supposed to get my final mark sheet and results by the end of July max, but it extended till November, and they gave me time to submit my documents till November, although my course started like mid-October. So I think they will consider that, knowing that the COVID situation in India is very, very bad. Besides, I personally couldn't do my bachelor's thesis offline in lab. I did a review paper, in fact, an online work completely, nothing to do with the lab or anything. So they considered that. Thankfully, in my second year of bachelor's, I had done an experimental research work in one of the labs, and that was considered for the required eligible criteria. But then again, I think they will be considerate and lenient if you explain the situation to them.
Okay, thank you. So if panelists don't have anything to add, probably I will take a question from Devangshu Nandi.
Yeah, hello.
Devangshu, could you also be a little bit more loud?
Yeah, am I audible? Hello.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah, so my question is to the people who are doing their PhDs, right? Who are doing their PhDs. So I was wondering, how did you go about the search process in finding labs and finding the appropriate PI? How long and extensive was your list? Did you have, at some point you should stop, but how long did you make that list? What do you suggest depending on your how do you search for labs? How do you
Okay,
shortlist
Devangshu,
labs?
we are getting to that question a little bit later during the conversation. So probably stay tuned. Okay, so we will answer this question a little bit later. So few people have asked about the visa requirements. So the next is like you have applied to the university. Let's say you got the offer. Okay, so how is the visa experience for any of this country? So one of the most important questions is the blocked account for Germany. So what are the visa requirements for the countries in which you did masters? Was it something difficult, or is there anything challenging that you need to think about when you apply? Like, let's say if you got an offer.
So in my case, like once I got the offer after completing like set of rounds for my program, so they asked for me for this what to say, like I got my scholarships. So in that case, like it's not a problem. But for my friends, they asked us like to pay the fees, like a certain amount of fees, and you have to take the documents with them. But they didn't ask for any blocked account. You don't need to show like 8 lakhs or 10 lakhs that is blocked in once. So I think that helped me to go there. So because I don't have to show my living expense, so my from my home they can just give me money on monthly basis, not like for the whole year.
So this is for Lithuania, right?
Yeah, this is for Lithuania. Or you can also provide a letter if someone can take care of your studies, like for the 2 years. So you have to make some attestation of the documents along with their pay slips, along with their work status. So they will, if they agree to sponsor your studies for like 2 years, because in my case my uncle, he sponsored my study for 2 years. I got also the letter along with me for my visa process. So that the money, I don't have to show a lot of money. And of course you have to open an account, and you have to show at least you have to take your bank statements at least like 2 or 3 lakhs that is in your account. Yeah, but it's not blocked.
Okay, how is it in Germany? Yeah, Chella. Okay.
I think the process is kind of similar in Denmark, like what Priya mentioned. In my case, I got both the scholarship for the tuition as well as the living expense, so I didn't have any issue. Whereas, like with some of my friends, like in case of Priya, they have to show that they paid the tuition fee for the first semester, and then they have to show like per year, it's like around 8 lakhs or something that they have the money. They don't have to block or anything. They just have to show that they have that much money or someone who can sponsor. Then visa process is like kind of smooth in a way. It takes like 2 months or something. And considering like Denmark, they don't have so many people in like to process visa in India, so they outsource it to VFS, which also charge money. So compared to Germany, I think the visa fee is a bit expensive. But yeah, if you get the scholarship, then I guess it's totally worth it.
Sorry, I would like to add one more point. So once I got the admission, the international committee there, like they helped me a lot in the step-by-step process of getting visas. So even if I have some doubts, I just email them like how should I prepare the documents and should I get attestation or not. So the internet, so in all the universities there will be the international affairs committee, so they always help you in step by step process of getting visa or any issues you face.
So I think I'd be able to add something more in the present times COVID situation. So first of all, it's super difficult to get an appointment for visa now. I applied through VFS Kolkata, and it took almost 2 months for me to get an appointment at VFS to submit my documents. After that, getting the visa is relatively easy. What you need is your passport, obviously, your offer letter, your blocked account. Presently, the requirement for blocked account in Germany is 863 euros per month, which is 863 into 12. That is 10,365 and 356 euros, which is roughly around 9 lakhs, which you need to transfer to a blocked account. And then once you come to Germany, you can unblock it, and every month you'll get 863 euros transferred to your current bank account. Besides the blocked account, you need a health insurance and travel insurance for coming to Germany. Again, the blocked account, health insurance, and travel insurance, you can get all together in certain packages offered by certain student-friendly organizations like Expatrio, Coracle, Fintiba. These are all online and super easy to use. Unlike Priya, I didn't really get much help from the international office here. But whatever document I needed, because my course started in November and I came to Germany in December, my application was somewhere processing around November, and they asked for an extension letter which explains that yes, I have started the program online, but I can continue when I go to Germany offline. A letter from the department. They all provided with whatever documents that was needed. And after coming to Germany, again, Germany is famous for its bureaucracy. So you're going to face a tiny amount of problem opening your bank account and getting your city registration and finally your residence permit, because usually the visa that is given to you is for 3 months or 6 months. And within that 6 months, you have to make sure you get a residence permit for upcoming 2 years or how long ever the course is. Usually they give for 2 years.
All right. Advait had a question, but I don't know, he's having some issues, but I will ask on his behalf. And it's asking about the scholarship opportunities. So you all told about that the course fee, generally in Europe, like there is no course fee. And some of you said that you also received some scholarship. But the real question is, how much money do they need to carry when they come to for masters for the first time, say for the first month, even if they get scholarship? and the kind of scholarship that you got, was it good enough for you to pay for your living expenses? And especially when you are in Europe, you are also thinking about traveling around, right? So you're not going to be at home forever. So like the scholarship that you get during your masters, do you think is it good enough to have a good life, let's say almost a European life? So what do panelists have to say about this?
Yeah, to start with, I would say it depends on the country, like where you do your masters. Because in Lithuania, it's real, the student dormitories are like really cheap. You can find like the dorm for like 200 euros per month, as well as the food. And if you calculate everything, your monthly expense will not exceed over like 350 euros. So in that case, like um I would say like from my family, I used to get around like 400 euros per month. So within that, I can manage everything. But in Germany, it's like really tough. And coming to the scholarship part, so how they gave me scholarship is like mainly based on my research experience as well as my SOP, because I don't have any papers published at that time. So they mainly asked I went through interviews, and they asked for my research experience, and they gave me a project. And they did like they asked me like, how do you proceed with the project if it is given. So they basically tested my skills, technical skills, as well as based on the research experience I had. So from that, I cleared all the rounds. So from that, I got around like 75% scholarship. So uh but there are also they are also providing 100% scholarship for like very exceptional students. So with my scholarship, I can manage like everything, I would say. And apart from that, as you like I'm not sure you all know, uh, so we have like Erasmus exchange program. So I made use of the opportunity to travel across different countries, I would say. So I applied for the Erasmus program in each semester, and they will provide you a monthly expense, like which will cover like all your stuffs. So that program helped me a lot. So I managed with that.
Priya, before you just end your opinion, there is a question about Lithuania. So they asked about Germany, US. So is there a website for Lithuania? How do they narrow down universities in Lithuania?
Actually, I found that university basically through well, how do I say, like consultation agency.
Okay.
So as I said, like my concern is like only the financial part. So I just went to the consultancy, and they gave me set of universities. So I just started focusing on that universities. But the thing is like I didn't apply all of my process through the agency, because they charged you hell lot of money. So I would say so I took a lot of time to search into the universities and how the applications will be. So I just got the template or the information from the consultation agencies, and I processed myself. So in case like if you there are a lot of educational agencies where people say like, I will get admission from this universities or that universities. So please don't go for that, because what I realized is like we can do it each and every step by ourselves, so we can save a lot of money.
Okay, so we have a question from Rahul. I'm just going to invite him to speak.
Yes, my question is that she mentioned a consultancy. Can I know what the name and what it is?
Actually, it's uh, some European. I don't remember because it's like 4 years ago.
Priya, so how like is it through some advertisement? Like
Also, I think she also mentioned that not to go for it. So I think the name of the
Yeah,
consultation doesn't matter here. And what I can suggest you is to follow the MS in Germany group or MS in Europe Facebook groups. There are a lot of such Facebook groups. You can get nice information from the alumni who already studied in these universities, and you can connect with several people through the Facebook groups. And now, since we established this network, you can also ask for help here.
Okay. So
I just sorry to answer the previous question. I just got the like brochure. Yeah, as I said, like my mom, she really wanted me to go abroad. She collected the brochure from I don't know, maybe from her office or somewhere else. She just took me there to the agencies, and you don't believe. Actually, the application fees just to apply for the university is like 100 euros, which is like 9,000 rupees. So the application fees is like non-refundable. But in the agencies, they said like initially I have to pay like 20,000 for registering in the agencies, and after that I have to pay like 1,30,000 for processing all the applications. Then apart from that, they asked me like 30,000 for the visa applications. So it's like really a hell lot of money. When I did everything by myself, I'm not sure like I'm doing it right way or wrong way. I don't know whether I will get the admissions, but I just tried. And for the visa application, it's like free of charge. So I would suggest like now we have like a lot of connections and networks, so you can just ask like your surrounding people or whom you know, so they will share their experience and they will guide you in a proper way. So don't go for the agencies.
I would like to add to this.
Thank
So
you.
we have a separate category. So once you enter the group and the Indian License Network, there is like a role, and then in the roles there is like UG and PG students. So if you react to that role, you also get a category of channels in which you have internship and PhD abroad. So you can type in your queries there. So we primarily expect that all the students who also aspire career or who aspire to do PhD or masters abroad would be part of that group, and therefore you also get a peer based information as well, apart from the people who are already doing masters or PhD abroad. So that's one more thing that I would like to add to this. And I'm going to move Rahul to audience, and I will also like continue on the question. So Vignesh and Chella, would you like to add on to the question that I asked regarding the scholarship, like how good it is it for your life in the country?
In my case, so both the universities that I applied, one in Denmark and one in Germany, luckily they didn't have like a separate interview process for the scholarship. It was through the master application. They said it was just like a one tick box where they asked whether you want to be considered for scholarship. Of course, I wanted to be considered, so I just ticked the box, and then in in that case, like in my opinion, at least getting the admission is easier, but then getting the scholarship is like even tougher. In that case, again going back to the previous question, I think both grades and research experience plays a role, because of course everyone have good grades apply, and then like you want to stand exceptional, and then in that case the more good qualities you have, that would definitely help. uh, Again, at the university I applied in Denmark, like there they have like two kinds of scholarship. One that is only a tuition fee waiver, then you have to pay for your living costs. And the other one is like a full scholarship, like where they pay for tuition fee and then they pay for your monthly living cost. In my case, I got both the tuition fee and the living cost. And Denmark is actually like quite expensive country, and then it's also like one of the countries where they treat everyone well. I mean, I don't want to sound like ambassador to Denmark, but it's like Nordic countries in general are like good about like living conditions and everything. So that actually, when I looked up the scholarship for like the when I got the master program is like as much as like what you get as for PhD in Germany. But then again, the living cost is so high. So when I joined, like when I got the scholarship, in the first month I didn't know how much was actually needed. So I actually took a job at like Domino's for a month just to see whether that was enough or not. And then I found out I actually had a lot of money for the from the scholarship itself. So I quit the job and then I
How
actually
much?
gained money. I'm
How
sorry.
much did you earn from Domino's?
I'm sorry.
How much did you earn from your work at Domino's?
Actually, in Denmark, they actually pay really well. Even at Domino's, they have like a minimum wage, which not many countries have. I mean, of course, it's not a lot compared to other places, but I still earned like 1,000 rupees or like 1,200 per hour. So, of course, like it's tax. Like the healthcare is free. You don't need insurance or anything because everything comes from the tax. So obviously, you pay like a lot of tax here, but it's totally worth it. Like yeah, and the scholarship was enough, and I traveled like many countries also with Rama once he came here. But yeah, for me it was like enough. Like I even saved like also I got into in Denmark there is no such thing as like university housing. So like people from different universities live together. So the dorm system is again completely different. So you have to apply for dorms as well. Like there are some, of course, the university has like a housing foundation that helps you get the housing for like 1 year, but then like in the second year you have to find your own place. Luckily I got into cheap housing, so I really saved like a lot of money every month actually. So yeah.
So for me, I didn't actually get any scholarships when I applied for the program. So I had to bring in my own money. So or you can also get uh, someone could give you a letter that they can support your masters. But for my, I initially put some money in my blocked account, and after coming to Germany, I immediately after some months, like 3 months, I got a part-time job at the university itself. So it's a student assistant job. So you just go there for like uh, 20 hours per week, which is like just 4 hours. You go to the university for your work, and you get really a nice money back. Same as what Chella mentioned. I got around like 1,000 euros per hour. So, and with that, you can really save a lot of money. And what I realized, what I didn't actually got any money after my initial days that I came to Germany. So the part-time jobs really helps you to finance yourself and take care of you. And also this one also depends on on the city you live. Like for example, I lived in Bonn, which is relatively a second tier city compared to Munich, where I live now, which is a first tier city. So the cost of living also differs from city to city and also from country to country. So if you could manage to get I mean, what I was suggesting to my juniors were like get a university where or in a second tier city, because the university standard across Germany is, in my opinion, is similar.
So I have a question. So like you all told us like how difficult it is being a master's student abroad, and I also have a question. So now that you all have done masters and after undergrad, I imagine that many of the students in India haven't traveled extensively, so probably they haven't been independent in their life until they do a masters abroad. Most of us live with our parents, so it's going to be a great challenge immediately after undergrad that you move to a new country and then you have to cook for yourself, which is going to be another great experience. And the difficulty you have to literally manage your finance, and on top of that you are also doing a master's, which is also competitive program. So my question to you is do you think it's still worth it? Because it's going to take a lot of challenge, financial, emotional, and you are also like you also will not have much of the social network once you land here. And do you think that the infrastructure and the coursework is good enough for you to go take or undertake this adventure? What do you think? Yeah.
It is really worth it, the research I'm working on is what I wish to work, and I have a great access to research materials. I could interact with several other research people here. So I dreamed of becoming a researcher. So I don't know if what I would be doing if I did my masters in India, but after coming here, after struggling for my masters, after struggling to cook myself some food, and now the looking back, it is all worth it. So I don't regret anything, but of course you have to put in a lot of effort. You have to prepare yourself to be away from your home, to be on yourself, and yeah.
Yeah, even like actually I'm very happy to be here. Like I'm in Europe for my PhD degree, because few of my friends, they are doing their PhD in India, like after completing their masters, and they are not like well paid, and they have to work for a lot of time, and the way the PI treats them are also not so good in few things I have heard. So in that case, like um the main thing you will learn like after coming abroad is like to be independent. So everything, like even starting from cleaning, washing, cooking, everything you have to take you have to schedule your timing, and it's like a good experience, I would say. So you will get like a lot of managing skills, multitasking skills. So yeah, it was really exciting, and now like I feel really lucky to do my PhD here. So we have a lot of infrastructures, and we can easily get resources. And the main thing is like we can generate our own ideas and test it in laboratories. Whereas in India, like even if I have some ideas and uh, I wish to do an experiment, I have to get permissions from my PI, and I have to look for the resources. But here it's like you're free to do your own research. So I'm really glad that I'm at the right place now.
I would say it's totally worth it, and I think it is a kind of an experience to like come abroad, and I think you get to be independent and like it's really nice because when I was in India, like I was like kind of like everything my parents does for me, like buying clothes and like making food, or like I didn't even know like what size my shirt is or something like that. So it's like you get to learn about yourself, and it's just nice. And like of course I didn't cook at all when I was in India, and like I only started like cooking after I came here, and I didn't know how it was. But then like of course it takes a mental toll, but then it's I also think like when you move to like some countries, there's always like some group of other Indian students coming with you. So it's nice to like make friends and also like to get along with other people and then learn their culture. I think it's really nice in that way. And again, going compare if we have to compare like doing it in India or like here again, I also think like in India, there's still like limitations. I think like when I was working in NCBS or like in Actrec Mumbai, like they wouldn't even allow me in the cell culture lab. They think, okay, you're like a bachelor student or like a intern. So whereas here I see even like if you just started like high school student also do like some science experience and they just come and like do everything. And there is this sort of independent, like of course, if you're not allowed, then how can we learn? So it's a really nice experience. As far as obviously mental health is essential, and on that topic, it's you have to decide whether you want to come abroad or whether you can like cope with it or not. I had like a friend who was here for like 6 months and then like went back to India because she decided she couldn't take it. So obviously that's also an option. So of course, if you haven't done it, then you wouldn't know whether you can able to do it or not. So yeah.
Hridi, you are just here, I think. So it's few months. So I think you will have say something fresh to say.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, it sucks to be out of your home when you've been for 18 years or so, and then all of a sudden, new city, new land, and doing it all on your own. Feel like breaking down on some days, but then it's all worth it. It's totally worth it. Going to the lab and working, that just makes up for all the hard work. I mean, I literally cook my own tiffin every night after coming back from work just to make sure I don't have to spend money in the canteen. So, yeah, you do that. You things that you don't even think you'll ever do in your life, you do that, and it just all makes sense. I mean, this is adulting. It sucks, but you love it.
Could you also comment about the course structure, because you are just here, and like what could you contrast between the how they deal with the course in India and where you're doing masters?
Yeah, sure. So, my friends, some of them are in India and they're doing their masters there at renowned universities, JNU, NCBS, TIFR, DBS, blah, blah, blah. So what the biggest difference that I see from their coursework to the coursework that I'm doing here is that I don't have to mug up stuff. I don't have to, learn by heart. I don't know about and I don't have to work really hard like from morning 9 a.m. to night 9 p.m. They do that over there in the research labs. I mean, you have to have a balance between your work and the rest of your life. It's important, and Germans specifically respect that a lot. The coursework, you get to choose your own course, you get to choose what subject you want to take, you get to choose your own schedule, you get to choose if you want to sit for an exam or not. It's all on you, how you want to make your masters. They have no fixed syllabus, they have no fixed schedule. They'll just tell you, in this semester, these are the things I'm offering. If you want to pick up these many if you want to pick up these many credits this semester, just go for the courses that you want to. If you don't want to do it this semester, if you want to take a break in this semester and do it next semester, well and fine. Do it next semester. No one is going to look at you and ask you questions why you're not studying and blah 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 that you have in India. So yeah, you get a lot of freedom, but then with the freedom comes in a lot of responsibility to pan out your work in the way you want to do it. Specifically for LMU, I'd like to add the different electives that you get to choose from are human biology, microbiology, cell biology, and genetics. And every semester, you can either choose the same elective for all the 4 semesters, or you can choose different electives. It's, again, there's a lot of freedom. It's just up to you how you want to do it.
If none of the panelists want to add anything to that, I would like to go to the next course. Okay, I will also like to remind to the audience that you could still talk to the panelists and you can still ask questions. Probably for a long time, you all have been listening. I hope that I'm asking the right questions on your behalf. And okay, so now we got questions. Go ahead, Priyanka.
So actually, are there any scholarships which are for final semester in Europe, in Germany specifically?
Sorry, I did not get it. Question.
Are there any scholarships like that which can fund for our final semester projects or dissertations in Germany?
Maybe I could, and I mean, you don't. I can share my experience. So I didn't get any scholarship, but for my master thesis, I applied for my thesis at the Max Planck Institute, So there they offer me a job. So they paid me for my master thesis. So I got a really nice amount, a nice salary from Max Planck, and I had it. And I did my master thesis, or I did my internship, and then my master thesis there at the research institute for more than a year. So they basically pay you for your master thesis here in Germany, generally. And there are also labs where they don't pay you for your master thesis, but you can decide which lab you want to choose, and you can try to find a lab where they pay you.
Actually, my question is like, so I have this, I know this professor in Germany can take me for dissertation there. So I'm in BTech. So he said that I could do my final semester dissertation there, but there's no funding. So he said that if I could find any scholarships that can fund for my dissertation, then I could come there. So I have the acceptance from the professor, but I do not have the scholarship to do there. So that's what I'm looking for.
I think you're asking question like when you're doing bachelor thesis to get a scholarship, but so I doubt the panelists here have done something similar to that. And
But Hridi, you want to go?
Yeah. So I just wanted to, I'm really not sure if there is something of that sort available or not, but I remember I was going through the scholarships on DAAD, and there's a database for all the scholarships, and I think there is one scholarship specifically for that kind, the kind that you're looking for doing your, so like it's basically for your, you have to submit a research proposal for the scholarship and that you have gotten acceptance from a lab, and then if they like it, they'll fund you. I think there is something of this sort. You just have to go through the database once. I'm really sorry, I can't give you more details about it.
Can I know the name of the database?
It's DAAD, like Vignesh said.
your audience and try Advait. Advait, go ahead. I think we are able to hear you.
Good evening. Thank you for the.
All right, Advait, we are having issues with you. I think you need to type in your question. So
Hello.
can you type in the question in Audi chat and I will ask to the panelists. So
Ram, I'd like to interrupt you for a minute regarding what Vignesh said last in the last question, in reply to the last question about getting paid for master's thesis and internships. So I'd like to differ a little bit here, specifically for LMU. So in LMU, there's a rule that if you are getting credits for a certain work, you cannot get paid for it. So like for me, I'm doing this. So I have to do a lab rotation or a research module in my second semester. I have to do one in my third semester and then do my master's thesis in my fourth semester. This is how it is distributed. But again, you can change it according to your own schedule. But then for each of these, I'm allotted a certain number of credits. And if I want to get these credits, then I cannot be paid for that. So when you're applying for universities, please make sure you see what the coursework is like and if you can get paid for the internships or the lab rotations that you're doing. Because I know for TU Munich, for that one, you can get both paid and credits for the same work. But for LMU, you cannot.
yeah, that's a good point. Okay. Okay, let's get to the end of the master stuff. So what are the prospects? Okay, so in India, I don't think like anybody is getting a job directly after masters, and then there is only one option: you do a PhD. And but since you are abroad, and then the infrastructure for research and also industry is way better in Europe than it is in India. So so what are the prospects? Say if I even if it involves a lot of money, but if I'm going to get good job after masters in industry, I could still pay back myself. Or do you also see that when you did masters, major of the students or your peers also chose to do PhD? because all of you have chosen PhD. So what are the options when you do masters in whatever country you did from?
So I can tell that of course PhD is one of the choice, but it is not the only one. So I know people who studied with me. They went into research industry, uh, particularly. Also, they went into like sales program. But for all these, they require German knowledge because you interact with customers, and German knowledge is more important for such job after your masters here. So if you would like to go for such industry jobs, it's better you develop your German skills during your masters or even before if you can, and then that would really help you for your job, for landing a job in industry.
Chella and Priya, what have your friends done after masters?
So yeah, so basically like when my friends and me like discussing, they also had the same thing in mind, like either go for a PhD or for the industries. But there are also a lot of jobs available where you can go and take a position in the journals just to review the papers, or it's like basically what you need. If you want to be in a research, you can just go for a PhD, or you can stay in academia, or if you wish to think like I want to be a part in like a product development, so you can go to the industries. Or if you like to read and evaluate the research, so you can also go in areas like as an editor in journals, because all you need is like your English knowledge to be a editor. So yeah, there are also different choices, but what my plan is like, after doing my PhD, I would like to move on to industries, because so far I just have like academic experience. I just want to like I'm very excited to feel the industrial experience, like how they are like involving in developing products or some other kind of things, like what's going on in the industry. So my plan after like completing my PhD is to enter into the industries and to look how research is being in the industrial areas. And it's really worth doing PhD, or if you are going to industries, it's like really worth. And the pay scale is also high, so you will take all the money what you spend it for your masters, or so it's really worth.
I mean, sorry. Even before your masters, even if before completing your masters, if you have a part-time job, then you can of course get the money back, or you don't spend any more money from your parents during your masters. So that is one of the point for doing a masters here. You can always do a part-time job. That really helped me actually. And before I forget, I just want to add another uh, research or job field. My friends also did a clinical research training after their masters, which lasted for a couple of weeks, and then they went on to work as a clinical research assistant. So there are several clinical trials that's happening with other compounds, new drugs, and stuff like that. So, if you have some training in clinical research assistance, then you can monitor or you can work with this clinical trials, which also pays a lot of money, and you can go for this right after your master's program. So that is also another job opportunity.
Yeah, on top of this, like there are also options called project manager. So for all the institutes, like research institutes, there will be a project manager, so who will take care of like the grants and funding. So all you need to know is like a knowledge in your field as well as like good English proficiency. So I would say PhD is not only the options. We have much things to do after your masters.
I think everyone covered almost everything. It's this kind of same in Denmark actually, and Denmark has like a lot of pharmaceutical companies. For example, Novo Nordisk, which is like the leading diabetes research, is based in Denmark, Copenhagen actually. And there's also Leo Pharma and like and other major biotech companies. Anything you take, it's in Copenhagen. Like Pfizer, Sanofi, and like there are like a lot of biotech industries and like a lot of biotech startups and everything. There's almost everything here. So, and in my case, like half of the master students that I studied with actually went into industries, and like only a few of us actually stayed in academia and doing PhD. And like again, like the reason can vary. It's up to you whether you actually want to do a PhD, or I mean, there's also option of becoming a research assistant after your masters. Like you can also do that, like take an extra year and to see if it's actually what you want, like whether to do a PhD or like to move to industry. So there's always an option. And again, what kind of industrial jobs you get, it's more like, again, like Priya mentioned, you can become a science writer, not a editor, but of course you can become a science writer, or you can also like participate as like become a regulatory affairs, for example, like managing clinical trials, like Vignesh mentioned, or you can also become like lab managers where you don't have to be a PhD student, but then you need to have a science knowledge to help with people understanding. Like if a new person joins the lab or something, then you have to give orientation and like do some experiments, but not like your own project, but manage people and like kind of different things. So yeah.
I'm going to ask Rahul. I'm going to allow Rahul to ask us.
Yes, I have two questions. The first one is that do you think an Anna University degree really cuts it for us to get a seat abroad? And if you answer that question, I'll go to the second question.
I think it depends on the university you want to get in. And again, like when, for example, like people abroad really don't know what are the good universities or bad universities really in India. So in that case, it's actually your grade that matters. So at least to me, yeah.
I'm a student from not Anna University, but a college affiliated with Anna University, Mepcoslink. So I'm here in Germany, did my masters, and now doing my PhD. So I think it's possible.
Uh, Thank you. And my second question is that I have an aspiration to set up a startup based on my research or my masters. So will it be able to like the college itself will provide some opportunities, or should I have to pursue it on my own? Uh, Anything on that?
For
So yeah.
example, yeah. For example, in case of my university at Copenhagen, they have like a actually a institute. It's called Bio Innovation Institute, and like so they actually help people with like startup ideas. And if it's a, you have to apply, and then like if it's a good idea, then they actually fund you. Actually, one of my Indian friends is actually doing the has an idea and came up with it, and she recently got funded. So she's actually doing the startup thing. And also like here they encourage you to participate in, for example, I don't know how much have you heard of about iGEMs. Like it's like a synthetic systems biology kind of forum where people like have like competitions based on like ideas and stuff. So they encourage you to participate in those kind of competitions, and it really helps. So the university here really helps if you have like startup ideas, and they also offer you to take some courses in like MBA, like not, you don't have to take the entire MBA course or something, but then they offer you to take some courses like apart from your studies to help with like understanding like business administration and stuff.
So let's get to the last part actually. So we have already spent close to 2 hours, and my question is the PhD portion of your study. And one specific question that I would like to ask is, does doing masters in this European country help you, or like makes it easy for you to get into a PhD program in Europe? And that's one question. And secondly, even if you are in Europe, how do you narrow down on the PhD part, which Devanshu asked early on, like how do you choose the university for the PhD, even like if you go do a master's in Europe? So what are your opinions on that?
In my case, I did my master thesis in the lab, and then I stayed there and doing my PhD right now in the same lab. One of the options that I really chose to stay in the lab is it was like my research interest. I really liked the topic that I was working on, and we were getting results like, and then and the results were interesting. So like we built up some more hypotheses, and like, so for me it was like, since I already worked on it and it was interesting, and I just didn't want to leave the project at that point. So, and like doing a PhD kind of like helped me like to continue working on the project. And again, one of the options that when you decide to do a PhD, at least what I think is the university doesn't really matter. Of course, the name of the university matters, but then it's, in the end, all that matters is how the lab is and whether they have funding and whether they publish in like good journals, or like publish overall. And like, because research funding matters a lot in a way, and the lab I'm working really have like good funding, and that was like one of the reasons. So I actually didn't look for applying for PhD elsewhere, so I don't have experience on that. So for me it was research funding and then the interest, so you can like commit and do stay for like 3 or 4 more years.
Yeah, in my case, like,
one second, Priya. So before
yeah.
we go back to Priya, so Chella, I would also like you to comment on the timeline, PhD timeline in Denmark. So how is it structured, and how is the salary when compared to master? So those things.
Yeah. So the PhD in Denmark is for 3 years. So the thing is, like, you don't have to defend your PhD within 3 years. So the doing the research part is for 3 years. So at the end of the third year, you have to like start working on your thesis. And I think 3 years is like very short time, at least for me. So it has to be at least like 4 years or something like that. So you can like get more research. At least, for example, in my case, since I worked on the project already for a year and during my master thesis, it was fine for me, and I still like to extend. But then when you are like a new student coming here, it takes at least, I would say, like 4 or 5 months to get used to the lab, and then like learn their techniques and start like formulating the project and everything. So then you're just left with like 2 more years or 2.5 years where you also have to think about exchange. For example, in Denmark, it is like, for as a PhD, it is compulsory to do like go on a different lab environment, so where you can travel to US or UK or Germany or like other European countries, so to build up like contacts and networks, so you can like, which is a nice thing. And then like if you have to do that, then again it takes time. So in the end, the amount of time left on your PhD is short. So, but the good thing is you can extend your PhD. So people usually do, like, even though it's 3 years, people do it for like 3.5, 4 years. So that is one thing. And the second thing about the pay, I have to say, like, Denmark again is like really good, like, or like Nordic countries in general, like they provide you a good salary. And I think it's like one of the best salaries they provide for PhD students in like general. And then of course there is a high living cost and tax and everything, but then they pay you enough so you can still be like good. But then when you compare salary with going for PhD and then industry, that's another thing. Like, of course, industry pays a lot. So, or like not like very much, but there is a significant difference in like pay scale after your master's, whether you do it in industry or PhD. Academia, the scale is still low. But then in general, for PhD, the salary is really good here. Yeah.
Right, Priya.
Yeah, in my case, like as I mentioned earlier, there is a program like exchange program called Erasmus. It's for like whole Europe. So after completing my masters from my university, there's a kind of option called like I can use the funding even after my masters. So I just saved like my 4 months of funding, and I applied here in Munich with help of Vignesh, I would say. So I'm much interested in the research topic. So I just went, I got through like few rounds of interview for my internship with my own funding. Then after working 4 months, so I adapted to all the conditions there in the laboratory. So they extended my contract as a PhD student. And the pay is also really good. I would say like if you get a chance of doing an internship before joining the lab, it would be a nice option because you get to know everything, the people and the work environment and the culture there. And yeah, of course, the other thing I also tried is applying to some graduate schools, but unfortunately, I didn't go for the last round. There are also options of applying to the graduate schools, as well as you can also apply like independently. You can you can check the labs and their interest, and if you are interested, you can type in your cover letter. Why do you want to pursue a PhD degree in their lab? And I also got few replies from my like the independent emails I have sent. So there are options. You can do it through graduate schools or through like independent emails, as well as yeah, the pay is good here, but still you have to consider the city. The living expense and everything, it will vary based on the city. So yeah, I would say it's really nice, good pay here.
For me, I should say Chella was he was lucky to have a lab where he did his master thesis and then continued for his PhD. For me, I did my master's thesis, as I said, in Max Planck. But the thing was, I didn't really, I didn't want to continue my PhD thesis in the same field. I was not happy with this, with the research there. So I decided to apply independently, as Priya mentioned, emailing several PIs and mentioning that I am interested in their lab and their research work, and also I applied to research graduate schools. It is more like a structured PhD program, more like what the universities offer for their masters. Several research institutes, also universities, LMU, Technical University Munich, they also offer structured PhD programs where you have to apply. But the thing is, these schools are a bit more competitive than the regular, the traditional way of applying for a PhD. But the thing is, you can get through this process, and if you could get through the master's process, then of course you can also get through this competitive PhD program also. So yeah, I got through one of this graduate program, and it's in the it was a graduate program organized by Helmholtz Center Munich. So I'm right now doing my PhD there. And the pay, I would say, yeah, it is more like universal for all the PhD students in life science throughout Germany. They have a more or less universal pay system where almost all PhD students get the same pay. But as Priya mentioned, the place where you live depend or you have to also consider that, because getting a nice salary in Munich is different than getting a nice salary in another town.
I have a question on that. Like that was really informative for me as well. So this is a bit specific, and I hope it's not too personal. How much do you guys get paid for the PhD program here at Helmholtz?
So it depends on the tax category you are and also the experience. So in Germany, they have this TVOD system of salary payment. So you can check in their website, and for a PhD student, they usually give or in all the PhD advertisements, you can see TVOD E13 level and 65% of salary. So you can check in their websites, or not the websites, but they have a TVOD. They have their own websites, and you can look for particular percentage of your of the salaries that is mentioned in the in the advertisements for PhD.
Okay, thank you so much.
To be specific, this 65% is close to 1,700 euros.
Yeah, for the first year, and then it keeps on increasing over the second and third years.
By 100 euros, I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
We'll take one more question from Priyanka.
Yeah, could you tell regarding the work stage?
Priyanka, we are not able to hear you clearly.
Could you elaborate on the work permit in Germany?
I doubt, because generally you come in as a, I think, student visa, I guess. But if you're coming in directly as a PhD student, then you get like 1 year visa, and then you upgrade it to a work permit after the visa expires. That's how it happened for me. When you renew your visa, then it turns into work permit, like that. When you're doing PhD. Okay, so I'm going to move ahead to audience. So I think with this,
Before, sorry.
okay.
So I think we missed a little bit of part of here. So starting a PhD from India or applying for a PhD from India. I think Ram has some experience in applying for a PhD from India. So can you give some insights?
Well, you have reversed my role, but for me, one of the challenge I would say is like, I try to apply to every program that I could find online. Generally, there are like structured programs from Max Planck, which are called IMPRS, and then there's always vacancies coming up from the individual labs. So in Germany, you don't have to join a lab, you don't have a time period. So whenever there's a vacancy, they advertise it. For this, you need to follow some websites such as Nature Careers, which is most often used, but it's also not like a complete platform. And then there are also subject specific organization websites. For example, there is like, I'm interested in plant science, so there is a European Plant Science Association, and there is German Plant Science Association, then Switzerland Plant Science Association. So all these organizations also have their own websites where they update the vacancies. and I found my PhD vacancy through Nature Careers, and it was very simple to apply. You start with a motivation letter, and then you have you upload your CV and research experience. It was very simple. But then what you need to do is, then if the PA is interested, then they send you email saying that they would like to interview. In my case, I had two rounds of interview. In first round, I just talked to the PI, and he just checked like about the candidate, if the candidate is interesting or not. And then I presented my previous work through a Skype session, and then I got the offer. So one particular challenge I faced is that my master's that I've done in India, so there is a database called Anabin, I guess. So every course that you have done in Europe is registered in this Anabin database. Thereby, they have some equivalents, course equivalents. So if you did a degree in India, they will use this database to say if you are equivalent to some German doing a master's somewhere. So that I had an issue there. So they had to apply for this affiliation for my master's. But after that, then I just got a visa for 1 year. Then I got my PhD. So I did my master's in India, then my BTech, biotech from ILN Knowledgehub. So this is say my journey. Okay, so I hope all the topics that are covered, and I hope that all the students who participated might have found it useful. And thanks for being a good audience and asking a lot of questions. And also I'm grateful to all the panelists who have spent close to 2 hours answering everyone's questions. And before we end, is there any last round of question that any of the audience want to ask the panelists? Okay. I hope we hear you this time, Sharat Sanshu. I think he's still hanging.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Sharat Sanshu, you are still having issue. You need to type in. I think again. Sorry. Bio. So bio is also having issue, I guess. So, and okay, bio, go ahead with your question.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hi. How to join the LMB lab in London, LMB MRC?
Your question is super specific. I doubt if I think we don't have panelists who's done application to UK. Yes. So probably your question might be answered in a future session.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So thanks a lot, and also to the audience. We will share some of the links that we're talking that we discussed in our Audi chat channel, and stay tuned for more events from us. And we hope that you make the best use of the Indian License Network. And all right, okay, we are having 2 questions.
I think Ram won't. Ram will allow me to say this. If you have any other suggestion to discuss or any other particular points, you can always given your inputs, so we can try to integrate to this Indian Life Science Network.
Yeah, certainly we are still in the testing phase, so we also have you can use the ILN staff channel to ask suggestions or demand events like this. You can also let us know how this event was in the Audi chat, if it was useful. And I don't know, I allowed someone, but they were not able to talk. And okay, Rahul, go ahead.
No questions. I just want to thank all of you for giving this wonderful opportunity. to like get to know you some personally and your life journey. So thank you very much for arranging a session for us. I just wanted to thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Rahul, for participating. Yeah, that was quite good. Yeah, Isha, probably you are the last question.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Is it fine if I work and then do my master's? Because I'm not sure on what field I want to do. Is it fine?
You mean to say you want to take a break after bachelor's and work and then apply for master's, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's totally fine. So it doesn't matter. Like, so you can just take a break and you can think of your research field or what do you want to do, and you can do it. Even here, yeah, as someone mentioned before, there are like breaks. Even your degree program, you can do it in one semester, or you can take a break for a semester and continue your course schedule for the next one. So you can also add, the thing is like, if you have some work experience, you can add that to your CV on top of like everything. So it will also help. Yeah.
Okay,
Al-
then like after, yeah, I was like,
Sorry. Also, you have to justify your breaks. I think in your application, I remember I saw something like if there is a break, you have to justify what you are doing at that time. So taking a break is not a problem, but you have to just make sure that you address them. Yeah, I took a break and I was doing so and so, and now I'm here to apply for a master's program.
okay. Then after PhD, like if I want to come back to India, how about the job opportunities? Do you have any idea about it? Because I'm not sure I can learn German and then survive there. I'm doubtful.
We, if we go back, so
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, Ram, you can.
No, I don't have anything specific to answer to.
I think without even learning German, you can survey here. So go. I would recommend, or what I felt is like going back to India after doing PhD is like a personal opinion. So if you want to be with your family, so you can choose that option. But after doing PhD in Germany, there are also a lot of opportunities here without German language. So in a few industries, so few of my friends, they work in international environments, so they don't need like German. So English is like a common language here. So you don't need to worry about that too much. So you can for sure survey here without German.
Oh, okay,
Al-
thank you.
Also, after your master's, Germany is not the only place for your employment. So you can still, if you want to explore the world, you can apply for positions or apply for industry jobs in several other places. So you don't have to worry about that particularly, I would say.
Okay, thank you.